And it's time for us to have a conversation about the increased cases of murders in the country. I mean, just a few days ago, just about 2 days ago, it was reported that a young footballer was said to have had some bodies discovered in his freezer. In fact, 3 bodies, one of them belonging to someone who's said to be a very close friend of his, and he's a close friend to the family. In fact, he was said to have also led in search for the missing boy, only for the police to later discover that the boy was in his freezer. And this would be one of many other instances. In fact, in the last 2 months or so, if we take a look at the number of murder cases that were recorded in the country, it is very disturbing. On the 5th of July 2021 in Fiasia, there was an Uber driver who was said to have been beheaded. I think you remember that story as well. He's a head teacher, or was a head teacher, and he was beheaded. And at the moment, 3 persons are said to be standing trial. Now, on the 12th of July as well, there was a 2-year-old boy whose body was found in a gutter. That was also in Obuase. And then somewhere in Tafwa Tonso Bukru or so, there was another 10-year-old whose body was also discovered. And, you know, it's on and on. 21st of August in Kumawu, Bodomase, there was a 14-year-old girl whose body was also found after she was murdered, and said that she looked like she had been strangled, and so you could see marks all around her neck. And then again in Maxima in Kumasi, there was a young woman by the name Angelina Ikiasewa, 24 years old, whose body was also found. She had been murdered. And all these cases, while investigations are still going on, there are some who have been arrested, some people are still on the run, and it begs the question, what's really happening? You remember in Kaswa as well, where that 11-year-old boy was also murdered allegedly by some 2 teenagers who are currently, facing the law. And we're waiting to see what happens to these 2 young men as well. And now the most recent is the one in Abesim. And so there are a lot of reasons that are being given by Ghanaians for why there are so many murder cases in the country. Unemployment rate now is skyrocketing, about 5% of the total labor force. That could be one of the reasons. And also the fact that, a lot of people are saying that we're showing off too many, people with riches. We're showing off our wealth on social media. And there are too many programs on TV that are trying to indicate that you can make wealth the easy way. And so all you have to do is probably just, find some easy way, get someone, murder the person, etc. And it's very worrying. And so today we have to speak to Dr. Ishmael Norman. He'll tell us, what goes in the minds of killers and whether we have been able to address this issue head on as we should. But even before that, yesterday, Ibrahim Abubakar visited, the family of the murdered boy in Abesim. And this is what he had to say.
It's been 4 days since the lifeless body of 3 children were retrieved in the home of a 28-year-old Richard Apia. The once busy Abesim community has lost its view. Parents are unable to take their eyes off their children since the incident.
We're now very vigilant about the whereabouts of our children. I'm protecting my children because of the incidents. They are always with me.
Some residents say, although they are living in fear, they are not too shocked about the killings because the community has consistently been in the news for the bad reasons.
This is not surprising because similar incidents have occurred in the community. But with this incident, I don't trust anybody again.
The community has earned a bad name for suspected ritual killings. A resident, Kweku Jesse, claims to have witnessed 3 suspected ritual killings in Abesim within a period of 3 months.
I heard it in the news, but thought it was a different Abesim. It was when I stepped out that I realized it's my own community.
Father to one of the deceased children couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the head of his son in a refrigerator.
The police threw the first body, the deceased, to me. But I said, the body is not my son. And they took me to another body. And that one I refused. That body too is not my son. And there is a big covering on in the fridge too. And they remove it and they just opened that one for me to see. And where I found the forehead and the head of my son.
The homicide unit of the Ghana Police Service are in the community to unravel the circumstances that led to the death of the 3 children. For now, the home of the suspect has been taken over by the police to prevent anyone from coming to distort evidence. But one thing remains clear: Abesim, a town bruised and shocked by these events, will never be the same again, except when justice being demanded is served. For the family of 13-year-old Kofi Sapon, the prospects and potential of their son have been cut short. Their hope is that his untimely death will mark a turning point and be a symbol that never again should anyone die in these gruesome circumstances. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Abesim.
Very disturbing, and you know, the people in that community have complained that this is not the first time that they are recording such murders. In fact, they've been scared, living in fear for a while now, and now this has also happened. Well, the IGP visited the family 2 days ago, and well, they said they'll get to the bottom of this. But let's look at the crime rate in the country as at 2021, in fact. And as you can see on the table here, it shows you the crime rate index from 2014 up until 2021. And you realize maybe we should just focus between 2019 and 2021. So it was highest in 2019 at 51.95%. And then in 2020, it dropped to 48.97%. And now in 2021, it was recorded at 48.52%. And so we're told currently that that rate is a moderate level. It has decreased to some extent as against 2019. But it still begs the question, what are we doing to ensure that we reduce this even further? And in fact, this crime rate records the incidence of human trafficking and crime against women as well. And Dr. Ishmael Norman is joining us via Zoom. He'll be giving us all the details on this. Dr. Ishmael Norman is the president for the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies. And he joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Bella.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I can imagine how disturbed you are about these incidences as well, especially the most recent one, the one in Abesim. What is going through your mind?
I think we have a very serious problem going on right now with respect to propensity of crime in the rural, peri-urban areas compared to the urban areas. Some types of crimes have moved from the urban centers to the rural areas, and some types are still within the urban centers. And I think the new IGP should pay attention to this differentiation, because if you bunch all of them together, then your theory for investigation becomes a little bit confused.
So what? Okay, carry on.
Please.
Well, you're saying that if we put them all together and address them as, you know, similar issues, then we may not get the results. But what then should the police service be looking at in addressing these issues?
The homicide division of the police service should look at the propensity of the crime, the types of crime in the rural areas compared to those in the urban areas. And then also look at what happened during the raining season, the cold season, compared to when everything is warm and fuzzy. So I think these are some of the things that they have to look at. And they cannot also bunch it all together to be ritual killing. Some of it could be serial murder. Some of it could be murder for hire. Some of it could be simply murder for a juju. So they have to differentiate the types of crimes that are happening so that they can understand it better and develop the investigative theories for it.
But that's the thing. What could go through a person's mind to want to take the life of another human being? It's very scary. And in this case, especially with Abesim, now the mother of the boy was crying and asking what wrong the family had done to the said Richard, because they have a very good relationship with the man. Even the father of the deceased said that he had a business relationship with this man. And now everybody's worried because you can never tell who may be plotting your death around you at any point in time?
As for that, even Jesus didn't know who was plotting his death until it happened. So even though it was told by prophecy before, I think we have to sometimes tone down, because crime happens in every country, and as the famous statement, even in heaven there's crime. So
Yeah.
I think that for most part, a lot of people are not able to deal with issues of having no money in their pocket. A lot of people are totally unseated when they run into financial difficulties, and they look at their neighbor and blame their neighbor, and it shouldn't be, because having money and not having money is a very dynamic thing. Even rich people go through seasons of poverty, and so do poor people go through seasons of riches. So I think people have to tone down their expectations and not believe in the rituals, the promises of juju men and women, telling them that if you kill somebody and bring me the head, I can make you rich. If that person knows how to make anybody rich, they will monopolize the whole process and keep it to themselves. So I think human beings are born evil. Human beings are also good. And so it is very difficult to tell at any one time who is going to go bad. And as the eminent Akosio said, mental health director, CEO said, out of every 10 Ghanaians, at least 4 of them are crazy. He didn't mean that they are deranged, walking about but they have mental disease, and we need to solve that. We need to look at that. So,
have we solved it? Are we even on our way to solving it?
Well, there seems to be several initiatives that have been started by the new IGP, including the horse-mounted initiative, and now he's created another center for accident investigation, and so on and so forth.
How does the horse initiative address this issue? I've been meaning to ask you about this. What do you honestly think about it? How does this resolve crime to any extent?
We are waiting to see. I have said that in this country, we manufacture disasters. There are only 4 countries in the world that have horse mounts policing. And the reason why this number has gone down so much is because they find it to be ineffective. I am waiting to see a day when a horse-mounted police officer or officers will be chasing down at congested Kaneshi Market area a thief when there is traffic, motorcycle, and pedestrians. I'm just waiting to see this beautiful event happen. Yeah. If it's going to be just in Cantonment, East Legon, Jolo, Roman Range, those places, then he has done nothing. And I'm waiting to see when the rural areas also will have their own horse mount policing. Well, now, when it comes to the Accident Investigation Center, I think it's good. I'm surprised that all this while the police didn't have a specialized accident investigation center. It's a good thing. And I'm waiting to see how he's going to revamp the crime detection, pre-crime, investigation in the communities. We have police officers in all the communities, but they always lag behind the crimes, and the crimes are happening. So the IGP or the police service, they are not God. They cannot determine who is the next person who's going to commit crime. Yeah. But when you have your men and women on the ground, in the community, that is what community policing is all about. Then you can have your fellas, you can have your informants, you can have your ears to the ground and anticipate what is going to go bad and create the interventions. So I think this is where they are not doing a good job. The police men and women in this country who are involved in crime investigation and detection, they are not doing a good job when it comes to this. So I think that is where he needs to pay his attention, because the crime rate in the cities, we see that we don't see too much of this miserable crimes happening in the big cities, except only recently that we had, the Greater Accra area of Kaswa that we saw this event. But I think he needs to put his feet down and begin to really create a pre-crime unit that can actually be men and women on the ground, boots on the ground, to see what is happening in the community, at-risk people, and see how they can stop crimes from happening. It's very difficult to...
Okay. Well, I hope you can hear me, Dr. Norman. Okay, well, we seem to be having a bit of a technical challenge at this moment. He's speaking to us via Zoom. It is expected, by the way. Let's hit the streets and find out what people have to say concerning, crime rates in the country and whether they feel safe. We'll come back and speak to Dr. Ishmael Norman some more.
Because of Ejumani, Ghana, Intia, because Ejuma wo Ghana na Ejuma wo Hama youth ni and Kamenji ni say akunkum because say. And for street lights, no, I think say promises are government in the Maya, no, and yes, say na economy because we are dying. And see government no just no ye be found my
on the Achimota forest lane and what have you. It is not a safe place to ride motorcycle, to ride a bicycle, to talk less of walking through that lane. And I think it's also a place where people are like it's a residential area, and so we need more security personnel. We also need work to be done, especially when it comes to lightning system in our visibility. Personal security is key, but what we want to blow alarm on is the fact that we need to increase the visibility of our security personnel. Our issue is we lack leaders that swiftly responds to situations when it happens. I don't have confidence in our security system at all. Looking at sequential cases of insecurity in our country, especially in Accra, Kaswa, and its environs and all that, it keeps happening, very persistent. We only see good PROs from our security systems to talk to us, and we see good communicators to talk to us. Their cases are under control and what have you, and yet they keep happening. So I don't think it's something to write home about.
And those are a few of our people, of course, telling us how safe they feel on our streets. And the woman earlier mentioned the issue of unemployment, and Dr. Ishmael Norman is back. I mean, we clearly know that the unemployment rate keeps increasing, at a rate that we seem not to have control over, almost 5% or more at the moment. And they're saying that these are the reasons why people would want to rely on other means to make money. And then we have all these TV channels that also show supposed money ritualists teaching young people what they need to do to make money as well. I mean, you're talking about having the security service, have more visibility in these communities. But is it not time we clamp down on some of these issues as well? Because otherwise, if we have security in the society and there are still young people who are unemployed, they're watching all these programs and they're still finding other ways to make money, then we may not be addressing this at all.
Bella, anybody from a good home with good family values will not be enticed by anything that is advertised on television, good or bad.
Dr. Norman, are you sure? Because there are some rich kids who also get into bad company and end up doing some of these things.
They are not with good values. I think that, yes, unemployment will always be with us, no matter what we do. Yes, the government is not handling the unemployment situation really well. Government is going after grandiose projects, car manufacturing. How many people can a car assembly actually employ? Every home in Ghana has a ceiling fan or standing fan. What about if you brought a company that manufactures fans? And that would employ a lot of people, and the average Ghanaian will be able to afford it. Every home in Ghana has an ironing machine, a pressing iron. What about if you bring companies that do these goods, consumer goods products? Wouldn't they be better than a car manufacturer? How many Ghanaians can buy those cars? How many employed people can buy those cars? I think the whole investment drive is totally whack. Because there are plenty of vehicles in this country.
Is that why government had introduced one district, one factory? They're hoping to, have these factories up and running so they can create more jobs?
Bella, if they had gone for even standing fan, to manufacture standing fan, ceiling fan, every home in Ghana has at least 10 locks. If they brought a company that makes locks, These are things Ghanaians use every day, every home. If there are 2 million houses in Ghana, there are at least 4, 5, 6 million locks in Ghana. Can you imagine how many people a locks manufacturing company will employ compared to VW assembly, screwdriver operation on tabletop? Is that how you create new jobs? No. We are not going to see any marginal effect in the unemployment situation. So I think government is a little bit gone to lunch on the employment situation when it comes to the youth. I think government has to come down. They are too high up for the grandiose projects. We don't need them. What we need are the fundraise that can help a manufacturer make a fan blade, that can help a manufacturer make key set, lock set, rice cookers. These are things Ghanaians use every day. You build an economy with the bread and butter, goods and services, not with the luxury items. You will never build an economy with those kinds of things. So I think the youth are upset. I think that the Fix the Country movement are not hitting the right spot, because government needs to be a little bit more amenable to the people and forget about its heritage or whatever it is you want to leave behind. Because if only a few people are employed in a country where 45% of the youth are unemployed, you've done nothing.
But in developed countries where,
I can understand the anger, the outrage of the youth.
Well, apologies. We'll try and reconnect with Dr. Ishmael Norman. And, he is talking about unemployment and how we seem to have gotten, a direction a little wrong with regards to creating jobs for young people. The other young man also talked about how dark our streets are. And, this is an agenda that we've been on this week on TV3 Newday. We've been bringing you some footages from some streets that are literally pitch black, and yet there are street lights there, but at night these street lights do not work, and especially along the Achimota forest stretch as well. And so could these also be the reasons why crime rates may be high in the country? In fact, just a week ago or so, in fact, on Monday, there was a lecturer and a criminologist, Edgar Techi Akuno. Now, he's also advocating for every regional command in Ghana to have a forensic department to ensure efficiency in their work. And he opined that the Ghana Police Service have competent and skilled service personnel to deal with crime in Ghana, but what they lack is logistics. And so that needs to be provided for them. I'd like to hear what Dr. Ishmael Norman would have to say about this. But let's take a look at some of these streets that we covered. This was just last night, in fact, and our team went on the streets to find out whether our streets are illuminated. In fact, this stretch is the Pokwasi. Is this the Pokwasi stretch? Okay, so this is the Pokwasi stretch, and this is what I've been talking about every day. In fact, when you look at the Pokwasi interchange, the newly constructed Pokwasi interchange, it is beautiful. It is lit. And then once you hit the John Tay area, going towards Achimota traffic lights, once you get on the overpass, it is pitch black. And all you see would be the lights from oncoming vehicles and your lights also, giving you some visibility on the roads as well. So this is the Pokwasi stretch. We also covered the Achimota stretch yesterday and 2 days ago. And so our streets are very, very dark. And so if someone is lurking in the shadows, waiting for their prey, and you happen to be passing by on a motorbike or walking, along the streets, what do you think is going to happen? This is the Achimota stretch as well. Dr. Norman is back, and I just want to find out what you make of this particular concern by Ghanaians. I mean, we've been talking about this for the longest time. Our streets are dark. We have, bushes everywhere. It's scary to walk alone at night. What do you make of this? Of course, this could also lead to crime.
It's a very serious concern, Bella. And there are many places that don't even have street light. And even though they collect, levies for street light. I think government, the municipal assemblies are totally not at work, because up to now, we don't have MMDCEs at post appointed. So government doesn't seem to take the people seriously. And because there is nothing to campaign for, except maybe 2024. Because I don't see, this is low-hanging fruit. Lighting the street is really low-hanging fruit. You don't need anybody to come tell you that when the streets are darker, crime goes up. And yet, we see it all around us, you know? And at least you live in a community where there are street like that. I live in a community, 25 years continuous living. There are no street lights. We the people ourselves, have installed street lights. Not the government, not the district assembly. We don't even have any government representative coming here in our area except during tax collection. Oh, they are very good at that.
That's worrying. And yes, we all pay the streetlight levy as well, because when you buy electricity, it is deducted from
I don't
the
think
amount.
government really cares for us. I don't think government really cares for us. Government cares for its pocket. Government cares for its image. When it comes to the care of the people, the real duty of care is not there.
Now, you're talking about police visibility earlier, and I just want us to bring that back, because we started this some years ago under the former IGP Mohammed Al-Hassan, and then it was continued by the person who succeeded him. But then I'm not sure if it's really making any difference. You're saying that we need more of that. In fact, on that Achimota Forest stretch, it is pitch black, but you see the police mount their barricades there, and they're checking vehicles with torch lights and stuff. I mean, if you move further up towards the Achimota police station area, you don't see them there. Of course, that's the police station anyway. But you only see them at the roundabout at the Achimota Forest, and that's it. And so if you move further up, you're on your own till you get to the police station. Are they getting it wrong? Because we don't seem to be seeing much of that. Oh, man, we've lost him again, unfortunately. We'll see if maybe later we can continue this conversation with Dr. Ishmael Norman. Also showing on your screens right now, that's the stretch. Okay, Dr. Norman is back. We're showing you the stretch from Achimota, in fact, the Achimota Forest. And so you use this stretch until you get to the traffic lights or the police station, and that is when you'll see the street lights working. But before that, you will see that. Dr. Norman, I was asking you earlier about police visibility. You've talked about, doing a little better to ensure that we have police visibility all across the country. But I'll just jump to my last question. So there's a criminologist who's saying that, we need to have a forensic department to ensure efficiency in the work of police and fighting crime in every region. Unfortunately, we do not have that. And so even if you gather evidence, you still have to go all the way back to the head office to work on your evidence before you can put out your results.
I think, Bella, the entire criminal justice system is so poor and porous. This new IGP needs to do a lot more. Even the police headquarters doesn't have an investigation room fitted with cameras and a one-way mirror so that new recruits, new investigators can learn from. I think the police visibility is just song. It's just a mantra. There is a police station near me. They come to work at 8 o'clock. They close at 5 o'clock. So, oh, yeah.
Wait, they close at 5 o'clock? So...
Yeah, they close at 5 o'clock.
There's nobody there after 5?
No. Until
How?
the next day. Oh, yeah, that is police visibility for you. A lot of the stuff they talk about policing and community engagement is just hogwash.
Wow. They close at 5. I mean, how is that possible? So if there's crime...
I helped to build that police station. And I can tell you on authority, on a daily observation, they come to work at 8, they close at 5.
Dr. Norman, which area is this? Is it okay if we can visit? We'd want to visit them at 5 o'clock. We'd want to visit them at 5, maybe 5 and see if they'll still be at work.
Yes, Bella. 5, like everybody.
We'll find out from you, maybe off air. Maybe you don't want to give out, which community for security, reasons. We'll ask you about that later. But we'll have to wrap up. Final words, Dr. Norman, before we go.
I think the IGP needs to take the criminal justice system very, very seriously. He is already not paying too much attention to that. He's doing the photo ops. And I'm not criticizing him. But if he's going to be a good IGP worth his salt, he needs to tackle issues of crime in this country head on before anything else is done.
What should community members also do to protect themselves?
We will do the best we can. Almost every community where I live, they have a lot of weapons around.
They have weapons around?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do.
But these are licensed weapons.
Well, they have cutlasses, they have knives, they have guns. Because if you rely on the police station where they come to work at 8 o'clock and close at 5 o'clock, you don't have any security. So when you call them right now that there's a crime in your area, they will ask you to come and pick them up.
Wow. So
I've gone through it myself.
Okay. You've gone through it yourself. They asked you to pick them up to come and address the issue in your neighborhood.
Yes. Even though they are only about half a kilometer away from me.
So
and
that
there are
means
cars all over the place, taxis all over. He wanted me to come and pick him up, and they never showed. I reported it to the commander in Nyanyano, nothing happened. Not even a follow-up to say, Dr. Norman, we are pursuing your matter. Up till now. It's a joke, but when they talk about police visibility, we don't see it. They only come to the street to collect money from motorists. They don't do any policing work.
Okay. All right. Well, we can't verify this, by the way. And so, Dr. Norman, thank you so much for speaking to us. And Dr. Norman says that we should take our security into our own hands. But please do not just go and pick up any weapon. It has to be licensed weapons, because otherwise you're also breaking the law, right, Dr. Norman?
If you have a license, you're not breaking any law.
Exactly. So make sure that whatever weapon that you have, if it's a small arm, you should have a license.
I have no weapons. I have no weapons. I only have cutlass.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm talking about small arms. So thank you so much, by the way, Dr. Ishmael Norman. Please do take your security into your own hands. Make sure that you're being careful. And parents, keep an eye on your children.